So how do you open up your relationship and still keep it really vital and alive? I'm Cathy Bartoli from theintimacydojo.com.
I'm Andi Cortland from levelupsex.com.
I'm Raj. I'm married to Andi.
So we're really blessed to have you guys here because you've been through this and you've done so much research as you went through the opening up process. And I'd love for you to share, like, what was the process like? Can you each share? Because I know you have different perspectives and different experiences about this.
From my perspective, we started, in late 2008, and he knew that I was bisexual. Mm-hmm. And I said, so what would you think about me sleeping with women? And that kicked off 9 months of negotiation about what does this mean, what does it look like. We talked to friends who had open relationships. We bought all of the books that were on the market at that time, which weren't very many, and read all of them and talked through it.
Yeah.
How do you think it started?
And then, something like that. And then I happened to have a friend from grad school, a woman I knew was bisexual. We were very good friends, who had just come out of a relationship with a couple.
Yeah.
And conveniently enough, I called her and asked her if she would be interested in something like this.
And I met her and we really hit it off. And this was well before we knew the term unicorn hunting. And luckily,
the unicorn happened to just come to us.
We weren't even looking for that specifically. She just came up and said, I just got out of a relationship with a couple. I'd love to date another couple. Like, you two seem really interesting.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with the term unicorn, it's a single, usually female bisexual person that wants to be in a relationship with both people in a couple.
Yeah. It's very rare, and it's generally frowned upon in open relationship communities to be hunting a unicorn.
Though it happens a lot.
It
happens a lot, and one just happened to walk into our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that feel? Like you were all of a sudden opening up your relationship, bringing in this other woman?
So that was great, that particular relationship, and I think that sort of, having that first relationship that works well often really makes a difference for couples.
Well, you've done your research too.
Yeah.
You read the books, so you had the communication
We read
skills.
all the books.
Yeah, and what made it kind of truly like a unicorn relationship was that I had known her as a friend for a long time, and we had a great relationship in that way, like very much, trusting and comfortable. So I was comfortable that she, of her as a really good person who would respect our boundaries and all of that.
Not threatening the relationship
and all of that. And she and Andi got along really, really well too.
So that's perfect. Those are what a nice way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, you took it further.
Right.
More.
So after that, I was a graduate student flirting with a woman at a graduate student picnic, and then we separated, and then she meets Raj and says, "Oh, why are you here? Are you in the department?" And he says, "No, I'm my partner's in this department." And she says, "Oh, well, who's your partner?" And then he points to me, and you just see this huge shock on her face, or her jaw drops to the floor and goes, "Oh," because she wasn't thinking that I was partnered or interested in men at all. When I'm not a single lesbian, I was a married bisexual open person. Anyway, so fast forward, I happened to fall in love with this person, and then that was a challenge for us because she was gay, so there was no way there was going to be a relationship with both of us.
Yeah, I mean, we were friends, obviously we got along, but there wasn't a sexual relationship at all between both of us, and that's when also we started realizing that our relationship requirements and sex drives were very, very different. Mm-hmm. Andi is a much more of a sexual person than I am, and that was obviously something to recognize and could felt challenging at times. And it also felt like, to me, it felt like for a while that there was something wrong with me.
Well, our society says men are supposed to be the sexual aggressor. We're taught so many rules about that.
Right. Whereas a lot of times I was just happy that someone else was taking care of it.
And he would actually call my girlfriend and say, "Hey, Andi really needs sex right now, and I cannot do this. Would you mind coming over?"
Yeah. So it was a challenge. It was challenging though to see my partner fall in love with someone else for the first time. That was definitely the first time that happened.
We're not taught how to handle that. Like our society doesn't role model that at all.
Right, and this was something that felt, for all of us, it was a difficult situation because of all the emotions that came up, and we were also, living in Atlanta, we didn't have any community around us. We could talk about this. So it was a challenging time.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate you're really great about sharing the vulnerability that you went through, but also modeling the generosity that can be there if it's right for people. Like you were telling a story earlier. Can I share about?
Oh yeah.
Like they were trying strap-ons.
Oh yeah, I can say that.
Yeah.
So Andi and her partner decided to experiment with strap-ons. So they acquired this really beautiful strap-on with a dildo from a website, and then they opened it up and they couldn't figure out how to put it on. And me, being the engineer, had to help them. Help her partner put on the strap-on, strap it all up tight.
She had a beautiful leather Jaguar harness.
Beautiful harness, yes, I agree with that. It smelled like leather. And then they started fucking, and then her partner, I realized, didn't really know how to thrust. And then I had to be like, hey, let me teach you how to thrust like a guy. So basically, this was a great experience of, this also like made me reflect on like, oh, this is something that women don't really know. That's interesting. It was just, yeah.
Or learn by default. I mean, there are many ways to learn this thing.
Yeah.
But it was really awesome that you were able to be part of that process.
Yeah, it was.
First experience.
Yeah, and experiences like that sort of helped me feel included.
Yeah.
Even though this was a relationship between these two people, which was very intimate, and I was sort of a little bit on the outside, being part of that process helped a lot.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably. Everybody opens relationships up differently if it's right for them, and getting support and help and learning what other people did can make their transition so much easier. So thank you for being willing to share that. Please leave your comments below. We'd love to know what you think and what issues you might be running into around this.